You're about to enter a world where a simple onion is the star. But wait a minute. You know what's really impressive? The fact that the entire world devours no less than 184,000 kilos of onions per minute? Yes, you heard right. That's faster than the time it takes you to chop a single onion. But how did something so common become indispensable in our lives? Why can't anyone resist this little ball full of layers? Stay tuned, because in this video, we're going to unravel the history, secrets, and gigantic numbers of the Queen of the Kitchen. Let's start with the numbers that show how onions are simply essential for the entire planet. Every year, the world consumes no less than 96 million tons of onions. To give you a better understanding, this is on average. Per month, 8 million tons of onions. This would fill about 320,000 trucks per month, enough to form a line that would circle the Earth several times. Per day, that's more than 266,000 tons, or the weight equivalent to 26,000 adult elephants. Per hour, approximately 11,000 tons. Per minute, exactly 184 tons of onions. Imagine tons and tons being chopped, fried, sautéed, and enjoyed right now. Per second, more than 3 tons. Yes, while you breathe, thousands of kilos of onions have already been consumed. These numbers show that onions are much more than just an ingredient. They are a global phenomenon. Now that you understand the size of this worldwide passion, let's go back in time and find out how it all began. But first, if you like to know about global food consumption, leave your like and subscribe to our channel. And finally, leave us in the comments which food you want to know about its consumption on our planet. Now close your eyes and imagine a world completely different from ours, without supermarkets, without shelves full of spices, without any of that. It was in this scenario, thousands of years ago, that the first onions began to grow wild in the region we now know as Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. They were there, available in nature, and our ancestors found them. Imagine their surprise when they discovered that this strong-smelling plant was not only tasty, but also full of energy to help them face the challenges of everyday life. Did you know that the onion was one of the first plants cultivated by mankind? And do you know why? Because it was practical. Onions grew quickly, took up little space, and, best of all, could be stored for a long time without spoiling. For people who depended on uncertain harvests and difficult hunting, this was a true food revolution. In ancient Egypt, onions gained a special place in society. They were not just food, they were a symbol of eternal life. The Egyptians believed that the layers of the onion, one inside the other, represented the endless cycle of life. And there's more. Onions were so important that they were placed in the tombs of the pharaohs as offerings to help them in the afterlife. Imagine walking into a pyramid and finding onions next to golden treasures. The Egyptians also used onions to pay workers. That's right, the people who built the Great Pyramids received onions as part of their pay. It was almost like money at the time, because they were valuable and essential for survival. So, from necessity to spirituality, the onion began to occupy a central role in human history, and that was just the beginning of its journey. Are you ready to find out how it conquered the rest of the world? Let's go. Now tell me here, did you know all this about onions? Stay with us to find out a little more about this food that is so present on our table. Oh, and if you can, leave your like and subscribe to our channel. This is very important so that we can bring more content of this type here on the channel. After Egypt, the onion began its great adventure around the world. The Greeks and Romans soon discovered its wonders and began to use it not only in cooking, but also as a medicine and even as a symbol of strength and endurance. Roman soldiers, for example, believed that eating onions before a battle made them stronger and braver. And you know what's even more interesting? Wherever the Romans went, whether they were building roads, conquering lands, or founding cities, onions went with them. That's how they got to practically all of Europe. But the story doesn't stop there. During the Middle Ages, onions became one of the few reliable crops. In times of famine, they were almost a lifesaver. People ate onions raw, cooked, in soups, and even used their skins to make medicine. And then, at the end of the 15th century, came a crucial moment: the Age of Exploration. When Europeans began exploring the New World, onions came with them. Ships carried sacks and sacks of onions because, in addition to being delicious, they helped prevent diseases such as scurvy, thanks to their richness in vitamins. Thus, onions arrived in the Americas, where they quickly gained ground. In Mexico, it became the base for sauces and tacos. In Brazil, it became indispensable in rice, beans, and regional dishes such as the famous moqueca. And in the United States, it even ended up in the iconic fried onion rings. Today, onions are so popular that it's hard to imagine a place in the world where they're not used. They've crossed oceans, broken down borders, and won hearts in every kitchen. Impressive, isn't it? Now, if you think that onions just appear on the market out of nowhere, get ready to meet the countries that make this happen on a gigantic scale. Let's start with the world champion, China. This country doesn't mess around when it comes to onions. China alone produces more than 25 million tons of onions per year. That's about the weight of 2 million adult elephants. And you can imagine the amount of onion fields they have to support all of that. Right after China comes India with 22 million tons per year. In India, onions are an essential ingredient in cooking. They give that special flavor to curries and highly seasoned dishes that they love. By the way, did you know that in India, when the price of onions goes up, it can even become national news? Yes. That's because onions are so important in the diet there that any change in price can affect millions of people. But wait, there are other countries that also shine in this production. The United States, Turkey, and Egypt are major producers, with millions of tons coming out of their fields every year. In Egypt, for example, the tradition of growing onions dates back to the time of the pharaohs, and they still export them to various parts of the world. And of course, we can't forget Brazil. In Brazil, onions are considered a true agricultural gem. Here, we have huge farms, modern machinery, and a lot of dedication from farmers. States like Santa Catarina, Bahia, and Rio Grande do Sul are the biggest producers. But did you know that onions from the northeast have a unique flavor because of the climate? That's right, even the way onions grow changes depending on the place. Together, these countries form a team of giants that supplies the entire world with this magical little ball. Millions of tons of it leave the fields, cross oceans, and reach your kitchen. Can you imagine all the logistics and effort behind this? So, every time you cut an onion, remember, it may have come from very, very far away and passed through many hands before reaching your plate. Now, have you ever stopped to think about how the onions that grow in the fields of the world get to the market and, finally, to your kitchen? Behind this, there are giant companies that work day and night to ensure that no onion is missing from your table. One of the largest is Fresh Del Monte Produce, known worldwide for its operations in the fresh produce market. They not only distribute onions, but also grow and transport them on a massive scale, supplying supermarkets in many countries. Another giant is the Dole Food Company. Although famous for fruits such as bananas and pineapples, Dole also plays a major role in the onion trade, offering high-quality products that travel all over the world. And let's not forget Syngenta, an innovative company that provides highly resistant onion seeds and helps farmers produce on a large scale. It's thanks to them that we have such beautiful and tasty onions on the market. These companies are like the heart of the global onion industry. They ensure that onions harvested in one corner of the planet arrive fresh on the supermarket shelf near you. Without them, it would be impossible to feed billions of people with onions every day. Now, every time you look at an onion in the supermarket, remember the enormous effort that went into getting it there. It's almost like a secret mission on a global scale. Did you know that onions aren't just used to add a special flavor to food? They can also be used to make a variety of incredible things that can help you in your daily life. Let's find out together. First, we have dehydrated onions. It's like magic. The little pieces of onion are dried until they lose all their water, but they still retain their delicious flavor. This onion is often used in ready-made seasonings and instant soups. You know that delicious smell that comes from instant noodles? You can bet that there's dehydrated onion in there. Then we have the famous onion powder. Think of it as an onion transformed into magic powder. It's used to season meats, salads, and even French fries. Plus, it's super practical. You don't have to cut it or cry while using it. Now, something that many people don't know about. Medicinal onion extracts. Yes, onions are rich in quercetin, a powerful antioxidant that helps fight inflammation and even strengthen the immune system. These extracts are used in supplements and even in beauty products. Just imagine, an onion helping to take care of your skin. And of course, we can't forget the classic pickled onion. These tiny onions, dipped in vinegar and seasoning, are delicious and go with practically everything. They are very popular at barbecues, in salads, and even in snacks. But onions don't stop there. They are also used in essential oils, which have a different smell but are great for relaxing. And did you know that onion skins are used as natural dyes? They give a beautiful yellowish color to fabrics and even food. Now that you know all these incredible uses, you'll never look at onions the same way again, right? In addition to being a basic ingredient in the kitchen, it's a true versatile star. Thank you for reading this. And if you haven't left a like yet, I ask that you do so and also subscribe to our channel. It's quick and free, and it's very important to us. Now for some fun facts. Did you know that the largest onion ever harvested in the world weighed an incredible 8.5 kilos? Yes, it was grown by a British farmer named Tony Glover, who took this giant onion to agricultural competitions. Just imagine what it would be like to cut an onion that size. You could make soup for an entire city. And here's another one. In the Middle Ages, onions were so important that they were used as wedding gifts. That's right, people gave onions to newlyweds as a sign of prosperity and good luck. Oh, and there's more. In ancient times, onions were believed to have magical powers. Some people believed that placing cut onions under the bed could ward off evil spirits and illnesses. Finally, did you know that even NASA has studied onions? They investigated how to grow onions in space because they are nutritious, easy to grow, and can be a good source of food for astronauts on long missions. Space onions, who would have thought? With so many fascinating stories, it is clear that onions are not just a food, but a little piece of our history and culture. Now that you know all the secrets of onions, how about sharing this video with your friends and commenting below what your favorite dish with onions is? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories. See you next time.